Hello and welcome to Smart Agriculture. I am Vivian Fernandez. This final episode is a distillate of what we have learned in the 5 months it took us to put this 10-part series together. We have travelled extensively from Gujarat to West Bengal, from Punjab to Tamil Nadu, and we have experienced summer in various gradations of heat and humidity to bring you farmers' voices and expert opinion. We have learned that smart agriculture is a combination of high technology as embedded in seeds, good agronomic practices, risk mitigation, resource conservation, scale economies, and efficient linkages to consumers.
Smart agriculture is impossible without smart seeds. Seeds have technology embedded in them. The Pusa Institute in Delhi made the first green revolution possible by providing farmers dwarf varieties of high-yielding rice and wheat, which transformed India from a food importing nation to an exporting one. Its latest contribution is a basmati variety called 1509, developed after 7 years of research. It was released in 2013 and matures in 120 days, that is 25 days less, saving 6 irrigations and plenty of water.
हाँ, मैं इस चीज़ से बिल्कुल जानकार हूँ, साइंटिस्टों के टच में रहते हैं, IRA का फेलो भी हूँ। तो मैं आसपास के किसानों को ये कहता हूँ कि ये हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि जो हमारे नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज हैं उनको सेव करना, उनको रखना हमारी जिम्मेवारी बनती है।
India is a rice country. It is grown in all states and covers 44 million hectares. In 2013-14, India produced 106 million tons of rice. Rice needs a lot of water, a resource that must be used judiciously, especially in low rainfall areas like Punjab. With weather patterns getting disturbed and a growing population to feed, India needs climate-resilient crops that mature in a shorter period of time.
So obviously, we have to provide the technological options in terms of, for example, most of the varieties, if we don't talk about basmati, non-basmati variety, the duration is longer, about 145 to 150 days which are cultivated. In basmati also, traditional basmati has got 160 days duration. The most widely cultivated Pusa basmati 1121 has got 145 days duration. So if we can reduce the duration of these crop varieties to say about 120, 125 days, the future belongs to short duration varieties of rice, wheat, or for that matter, any other crop with increased cropping intensity to enhance the profitability of the farmers.
Maize is a cereal whose production is linked to rising GDP, as people tend to consume more proteins in the form of meat, eggs and milk when incomes rise. This in turn drives demand for maize as animal feed. India's maize production has doubled to 24 million tons over the past 1.5 decades. The country's maize yield is about 2.5 tons, though states like Andhra Pradesh get more than 6 tons per hectare on average. Single cross hybrids have played a big role. Punjab wants to reclaim a part of rice acreage for maize to arrest the depletion of groundwater, but the incentives for farmers to shift do not seem to be right.
Wheat paddy has the assured market, whereas the maize and other crops do not have the assured marketing and assured minimum price. If we could assure that, while we are giving a lot of support on inputs, mechanization, on hybrids and agronomy, a lot of other things we are giving to the farmers, but farmer is not getting the remunerative prices. Unless until we give the remunerative prices of maize and other alternative crops to reduce the area under paddy, the farmers will not shift.
There is extensive hybridization of maize even in Bihar, which does not usually rank high on most indicators of progress. Smallholders there do not mind buying seed from private companies as they are assured of high yield. The state grows maize in winter, while average yield is 3 tons. There are farmers who extract 8 to 10 tons per hectare.
I think the first reason is the seed. Certainly, because I know my father used to do a lot of maize. Even then, after him, we did maize. But since this single hybrid and these new varieties of seeds that have come in, there's been a dramatic change in yield.
BT cotton is another example of seed technology transforming crop economics. India's only genetically modified crops, farmers have taken to it so readily that it now covers 95% of India's cotton acreage. The BT gene makes cotton resistant to a deadly and stubborn pest called bollworm, which persist despite several applications of costly chemical sprays. With BT cotton's assurance of pest protection, farmers have increased area of the crop from 9 to 12 million hectares. Annual output has tripled from 10 million bales in 2001-2 to 36 million. Pesticide use for controlling the bollworm has shrunk from 4,470 tons in 2002 to 222 tons in 2011. From being an importer, India has become an exporter of cotton.
हाँ नहीं, फायदा तो हो रहा है, बीटी से फायदा हो रहा है, उत्पन्न ज़्यादा हो रहा है, फसल ज़्यादा हो रही है। उसके अंदर जैसे कि 8 क्विंटल होने का, 4-6 क्विंटल होने का, 10 क्विंटल तक होता है। अच्छी मशक्कत करे और अच्छा खाद वगैरह अच्छा दिए तो 15 क्विंटल तक जाता है।
Ironically, BT cotton faces opposition from some of its own supporters. They are not comfortable with the private sector's hold over it, despite BT cotton seeds being under price control in some states. Opposition of this nature comes at a price. India is short of pulses and imported 2.7 million tons last year for 8,800 crore rupees. If BT technology had been applied to pigeon pea or arhar and chickpea or chana, damage by the pod borer could have been contained and India's import bill would have shrunk.
The major problem that still remains is the pod borer, which is a major problem, and that is where I think we don't have good available resistance in the local varieties. So we have to depend on genetic modification. This is where BT chickpea or BT pigeon pea are going to be of help, but scientists are constrained because we cannot go to field level trials because there is a moratorium.
Opposition to BT technology might get muted now that a team of Delhi University researchers has provided their own version of it to the Central Institute of Cotton Research and Punjab Agricultural University. These institutions will put the BT gene in their open pollinating varieties whose seeds farmers can save and reuse, unlike hybrids which private companies sell. The research was publicly funded, so the researchers want it to be used for public good. They hope this will also blunt opposition to another of their invention, genetically modified mustard, which could slash India's import of oil seeds.
Once the hybrids take off in mustard, and because the entire expenditure on this technology development has been done by public funding, so the technology will go to the farmer at a very, very low cost. And hybrid seed production in mustard is very easy. A large amount of seed you can get in hybrid seed production plots. So it is ripe, and you know, 2 countries which grow rapeseed very extensively, in fact 3, Canada, Europe and China, all 3 have hybrids in a big way. Only we are left behind, we have not moved into hybrids.
Banana growers like Tenu Borole and Lakshma Onkar Chaudhary are proof that good seeds will not deliver high yields without sound agronomic practices. These farmers plant high-yielding saplings of Honduran Grand Nain bananas cloned in test tubes. They use drip irrigation to regulate moisture and humidity in the banana gardens as well as to supply precise amounts of nutrients. The combination of tissue culture, drip irrigation and fertigation has made Jalgaon district the highest producer of bananas in the country. If it were a state, it would have ranked 5th in banana production.
पानी बचाने की ज़रूरत तो नहीं है, पर इसको ज़्यादा भी पानी दिया तो ये फसल ख़राब हो जाती है। ज़्यादा पानी भी चलता नहीं है। जैसे अभी ठंडी रहती है तो ठंडी में इसको बहुत पानी कम लगता है। समझो अभी इधर 6 घंटे पानी छोड़ रहे हैं तो उसको फक्त ठंडी में 1 घंटा पानी छोड़ना पड़ता है।
In Gujarat's Banaskantha district, farmers on contract to a supplier of finger chips to a multinational fast food chain have learnt scientific ways of growing potatoes. They use sprinklers instead of flood irrigation. Some of them, like Parthi Chaudhary, have managed to get very high yields by respecting the rhythm of nature and of the crop.
मैं बाय बर्थ तो किसान हूँ, थोड़ा बहुत उनको मालूम था, लेकिन साइंटिफिक तरीके से कैसे करना है वो कंपनी ने हमको अच्छी तरह से सिखाया है। इरिगेशन सिस्टम भी इन्होंने सिखाया कि भी स्प्रिंकलर से करो, ताकि हमारी 15% जो लैंड जो वेस्ट होती है उसका पानी ले जाने के लिए नीक बनाने पड़ते हैं, ऐसे बनाने पड़ते हैं फरो, वो हमारी ज़मीन बच जाती है और प्लांट ऑफ पॉपुलेशन है जो बढ़ जाता है, इससे हमारी पर एकड़ पैदावार बढ़ जाती है।
Contract farming by companies not only helps farmers upgrade their skills, it also protects them from market risk. Early this year, there was a glut of potatoes and farmers who were not on contract had to dump their produce in the spot market at less than 2 rupees a kilogram, down from 8 rupees last year. Those on contract did not have to worry about prices. they could focus on maximizing production and productivity.
एक साल के लिए घाटा होता है, मगर कभी कभी डाउन भी रेट हो जाते हैं, तो उस टाइम कोई लेने वाला नहीं होता है, तो हम तो फिक्स हो जाते हैं, हमको हमारा रेट फिक्स है, हमको तो ओनली प्रोडक्शन ही बढ़ाना है, वही हम देखते हैं कि हमारा प्रोडक्शन कैसे बढ़े।
Row planting of rice is a technique which the Central Rice Research Institute based in Cuttack is popularizing. It says this simple change has a big payoff. It can improve productivity by 10 to 15%. The use of sex hormone traps for pest management is another practice it is advocating. The 3 stations of the Borlaug Institute for South Asia are propagating conservation agriculture, that is no or minimal tillage, leaving crop residue on the surface to conserve moisture and interrupting the wheat-rice or rice-rice cycle with a leguminous crop like mung bean to enrich the soil. The Directorate of Weed Research in Jabalpur has made conservation agriculture its flagship program.
In my opinion, this is the agriculture which is required to be promoted on large areas, and based on my experience over the last 3 years, I can say with the full confidence that this technology is the best suited for the vertisols or the black cotton soils of central India, which are there in areas around Jabalpur, and this is spreading like wildfire. In fact, wherever we have demonstrated this technology, the farmers are now highly convinced, and the yields of the crop in the demonstrations which we have laid out in the farmers' fields are even 1.5 to 2 times more than what the farmers are doing with their conventional practices.
That was Ajit Ram Sharma of the Directorate of Weed Research saying why no-tillage agriculture is such a draw with farmers because it saves on labour cost. With that, we slip into a break. When we return, whether risks are adequately mitigated in India. You're watching Smart Agriculture. Welcome back. Agriculture is one of the riskiest economic activities, but also one where there is scant protection against the vagaries of nature. India has the largest crop insurance scheme in the world, but about 2/3 of farmers are not covered by it, and whatever cover is offered is inadequate protection against losses.
Mathura district bore the brunt of a hailstorm in April this year. Standing wheat crops were flattened, and the rains that followed completed the damage. The centre and the state gave calamity relief at the enhanced rate of 13,500 rupees per irrigated hectare. Mathura is also one of the districts where the weather-based crop insurance scheme is being offered in public-private partnership mode. In this form of insurance, actual loss is not physically estimated. Instead, loss is presumed when weather parameters deviate from the norm and claims are paid.
जो कवरेज है क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस का, दैट इज़ वेरी लेस. अगर हम डेटा देखें जो खरीफ क्रॉप होती है जो कि मानसून के आसपास लगती है, उस क्रॉप में क्रॉप इंश्योरेंस से ओनली 18,800 समथिंग फार्मर्स वर कवर्ड, जो कि हमारे यहाँ फार्मर्स अराउंड 4 लाख के आसपास हैं डिस्ट्रिक्ट में. तो दिस नीड टू बी, जो उसका बेस है उसको वाइडन करने की ज़रूरत है जिससे कि ज़्यादा लोग कवर हों. ऐसी रबी का हमने जो डेटा निकाल के देखा, इट इज़ कमिंग अराउंड टू सेम 18,000 के आसपास वो भी आ रहा है, तो उसको भी हमें वाइडन करने की ज़रूरत है.
Though 72% of rural workers are engaged in farm-related activity, farmers across the country complain that labour is in short supply when most needed, that is during sowing and harvesting. Because of a bunching of demand, wages are pushing up costs. The pinch is being felt even in industrially backward areas like Gulbarg, where scientists have developed machine harvestable chickpea in response to farmers' demand.
There was one constraint in the chickpea, that is the harvesting constraint. Harvesting was tedious. Now we are in these research stations, we have developed one variety, that is GBM2, which is tall, sufficiently it is tall, about 2 feet height, and upper part of the 1 feet is productive, and below that there is a non-productive part. There we can go for mechanized harvesting.
Mechanization meant tractors and earth churning equipment. Punjab leads in this respect. But there is overcapitalization there. Tractors are being used for 350 hours a year when they should sweat for at least 1,000 hours to justify investment. India's smallholders cannot afford to buy machines, especially laser levelers, seeders and harvesters. They will have to look at cooperative models to defray the cost and improve productivity.
More and more of mechanization is going to come. There is no doubt about that. Question is whether you can use the machines most efficiently, economically, and that depends upon the land size. So the land holding size has to match with the machinery, or you have to develop custom hiring in such a way that the machine is fully utilized.
Smallholders will also have to band together to reap scale economies and retain more of the value that consumers pay for their produce. Farmer-producer companies are touted as a solution, and there are more than 450 of them, with Tamil Nadu leading the pack. These producer companies can buy quality inputs in bulk at discounted rates, engage agronomists to advise them on scientific cultivation, and hire machines on a cooperative basis. But while they are good at production, they will have to face up to the challenge of finance and marketing.
They have all the challenges that any startup, whether in technology, in business, in services, the same challenges which startups face are faced by FPOs. Of course, you're completely right. Their core competence is in production. They are not competent to deal with issues of marketing, processing, value addition. So the answer to the scaling up that we have found is the federating or the aggregation at a higher level. So in states where the number of FPOs has now crossed 25 or 30, we are promoting and facilitating the growth of state level producer companies.
That is all we have in this series of Smart Agriculture. There are issues we have not covered, like access to bank finance, rural electrification and assured power, and extension of irrigation to the 66% of cultivated area which is either wholly or partially unirrigated. Those are themes which hopefully we'll take up in the future. Till then, goodbye, take care, and thanks for watching.